And then the next Asian Games was in 1970. And I also had qualified for the Asian Games. And we had gone through the heats and the semi-finals. And I was in the finals of the 100 meters also. But in 1970, in the early part of the year, in February, I had woken up one day with a very, very painful left heel, and X-ray showed that I had a growth in the heel bone. It was called a calcaneus spur, and it was hitting the nerves and causing intense pain. And I had gone for all kinds of treatments, traditional Chinese, traditional Malay, traditional Indian, and the Western in the hospital. But nothing helped. And I was running with this heel pain all the time. And even at the, I remember I had qualified for the Commonwealth Games. And I also remember a week before going for the Commonwealth Games, I had informed my coach that I was going to withdraw from the Commonwealth Games. But I remember one day I was in my school car park, getting ready for my PE lessons in Danian Secondary Technical School. And my senior teacher, the senior teacher of the school, her husband was the president of the Olympic Council. And one morning, he had dropped her off at the school car park, and then he wound his glass down from his car, and he used his finger and he called me over to the car. Then he said, "We heard that you are withdrawing from the Commonwealth Games." And I said, "Yes, my heel is just too painful." And then he said, "You have qualified for the game and you have been still continuing your training. So we want you to go to the Commonwealth Games." Didn't know what to say. And then he had driven off. And I told my coach what he had said. And then my coach said, "Okay, we continue training." And then this is the thing that made me decide to go. Edinburgh in Scotland was the most important university where all medical students went, even from Singapore. And so I told myself, maybe I should go to Edinburgh and maybe I can get some special treatment in Edinburgh. And so that is how I went to this Edinburgh Commonwealth. But unfortunately, in the first round of the 100 meters, I pulled a hamstring. And that was the end of my Edinburgh Commonwealth Games. The treatment was the same as the treatment from Singapore. Hydrocortisone jab on my heel, and then ultrasound. And then, as I said, it was so cold, it was freezing for me, and I pulled a hamstring. And then I came back. But remember, I had the Asian Games at the end of the year, 1970.
Mm.
And I qualified for the Asian Games. We went to the Asian Games and I took part. I was in the heats and the semifinals, and then in the finals of the 100 meters, I remember telling myself, I think I want to take off this bandage because the whole year I had my heel taped. And I told myself, I want to take off this tape so that my spikes and my soul would be like one without uh, anything between them. And so the 100 meters finals was on, and I was on the track, and I was telling myself, I think I should take off my bandage now, so that, as I said, my soul would be one with the spikes. But while I am thinking about this, the starter had given the command of Kaute, meaning on your marks in Thai. And I said, okay, never mind, let me get into the blocks. And I went into the blocks, but my mind was still on my soul. And I'm thinking, if I put my hand up, the starter would say, okay, in those days you could do that. You put your hand up and the starter would say up, and then whatever problem was, it could be solved. But now you can't do that now. But at that time, while I'm thinking about this, putting my hand up, the starter had given the next command, which was Rawang, which in Thai means get set. And I said, oh, okay, never mind, it's too late now. It's too late to put my hand up now. And so I got into my wrong position. And then, but I'm still thinking on my heel. Instead of focusing on my start, I'm thinking on my heel. The gun goes off and I am left behind. I was the fastest starter, remember. In 1966, I'm leading all the way, and now I'm left behind. But I chased. I don't know what made me chase, and I chased and chased and chased and overtook uh, all of them. And then the photo finish shows the three of us, the Japanese, the Thai, and me, diving for the tape. And the the Japanese was first, and then the 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 Thai was second, and I was third. Disappointed, yes, but at the same time, I said I was left behind and I could chase. And so I told myself, in the 200 meters, I'm going to get the gold because I could chase even though that I was left behind. And so in the 200 meters finals, this is after the heat and so on, the gun goes off and I'm leading and coming around the bend. The newspapers reported at that time that I was leading coming around the bend. And then with 50 meters to go, I'm still leading. And then I remember I was feeling my legs were getting tired. Then with about, I think, 30 meters to go, the Thai sprinter who had come in second in the 100, he came next to me. And I remember telling myself, I can change gears, but I had nothing left in my legs. My legs were hardened, and the Thai was moving so smoothly. And I remember telling myself, okay, let him go. I still can get a silver. Better than the 1966 Asian Games. And then, and I remember keep going, keep, I'm still running. And but my legs were really getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And then I remember the Thai winning it by a good margin. And then the Japanese he dived at the end. And then, although the time was identical, they said that his chest was in front of me. And so he got the silver medal and I got the bronze medal. And I was very disappointed. And I remember the media, they asked me about what I was going to do after this Asian Games. And I remember saying this. And it is also reported in the press, in the newspaper cutting. I still have it, where I said, I want to have nothing to do with athletics. I was so disappointed. But that was a mistake because I never realized that my training was not as good as the others in the Asian Games. Remember, I had this spur growth in my heel bone, and I had kept on training in spite of the growth in the bone. And so I was the best in Singapore, but I could not have been the best in Asia. I didn't realize it. But that was the end of my part one of my competitive year.
End of the part one,
And
and
I had nothing to do with
yeah,
athletics until I was given an opportunity.
yeah. You took a few years break
Much.
from the competitive running, isn't it?
Yes. For 2 years, I did nothing. I just focused on my school, kids, developing a team, so on.
Yeah. Tell us how did you make your comeback?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So the comeback was also quite unique because um, one day in 1973, I had a call from Mr. Dillon. He was the Secretary General of SNOC. And he said, hey, we want you to be part of the opening ceremony for the SEAP Games, which Singapore was hosting for the first time at our new national stadium. And I said, oh, okay, I can be part of the torch relay, run on the road 50 meters and then hand the torch to somebody. I can do that. Then he said, listen, no, we want you to be the final torch bearer. That means run around the stadium and then up the steps and then light the torch. And I told him, no, Mr. Dillon, I can't do this.
You got a call, is it?
There's a call coming through.
Yeah.
And so I said, I can't. I've not been running at all for 2 years. I can't do this. And then he said, no, listen, this is a privilege to be able to be the final torch bearer in such an important meet. So he said, go and do get some fitness and then come. And so I said, okay, I'll do that. And then I remember now training with my school kids so that I could run in a dignified manner with a torch. And then there was another phone call in May of that year. And this phone call was from Mr. Hari Chandra. He was the coach for the 400 and 800 meter runners for the games. And then he said, hey, we heard you are in training. I said, yeah, I'm training so that I could run with a torch in a dignified manner around the stadium. And he said, haven't you read the papers? And I said, what? He said, go and read the papers. And then I checked, and there was a news article, and the report was about our best 400-meter runner, Meha Singh. He had met with a motorcycle accident, and he had broken a leg and hand, and he was in hospital. Then this coach said, hey, we heard you are in training. And I said, yes, I'm training to carry the torch around. And he said, no, why don't you go and train and then come for the trials? And if you make it, we can use you in a 4x400 meter. And then I also remember, and my school kids will also remember, I think, that I would join them in the training instead of just coaching them. When sometimes I would join the 400-meter runners, sometimes I would join the 800-meter runner, sometimes I would join the sprinters. And then I remember going down for the trial, and I came in third. And so I was going to be in the 4x400 national team. But I also remember that I told the coach, I cannot come and join you now because I still have to coach my schoolboys and schoolgirls for the national competition. And after we finish, then I can come and join you all. And so I remember we were A Division Bukit Timah district champions. And we were going to represent the Bukit Timah district at the national meet. And this was at Farrer Park. And our A Division boys came in champions. And then um, we then after that, I told my school students, I said, hey guys and girls, I'm going to I cannot join you all every day or training. I have to go for national training. And so my school team was taken over by the captain, and then I went down for the national training under Mr. Hari Chandra for the 4x400 meters. And that is how I come back in. And I remember running in the 1973 4x400 at the National Stadium. This was the first time the new National Stadium was going to be used for a competition, and it was the SEAP Games. We were hosting it for the first time.
Yeah, that's right. National Stadium, the grand old lady, the new lady at the time, right?
Yeah.
How old were you in 1973?
Well, I was born in 1942,
Yeah. So
so
you
that makes
were
me 31.
31, huh?
Yeah.
You had a very long running career.
Not that long.
Mm.
Yeah. I came in when I was 21,
Right,
and
right.
then I
Okay,
stopped.
okay.
Yeah. And I came in when I was 20, and then I stopped when I was 28, 29. Yeah. I
Mm.
stopped in I stopped in 1970. Yeah.
Yeah. And you still had about 7 more years, right? Until 1980.
After
Was that when you retired?
yes, yes. Uh, 19 actually it was 1979 when I
79.
retired.
Mm.
Yeah. But I could not go for that last competition. I remember we had qualified for the 4x1 and 4x4, and but I just could not. I remember 1 week before going to Jakarta, I had pulled my hamstring,
Mm.
and I said, no, I can't go. I was so close to the competition. I pulled the hamstring during one of the training sessions. And although they all said, never mind, just come, just be the team captain, you don't have to run. Maybe you can run, maybe it might heal. But I said, no, this is just too much. And so when so that was the end in 1960, sorry, was it 1970,
9.
79? Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Mm.
You
I had,
were
yeah,
you were 37 at the time.
yes.
Mm.
And maybe there was another reason. I was just too old.
Mm.
And with a hamstring injury like that, I don't think I could
Yeah.
recover it.
Yeah.
Yeah, to go. Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the highlights of your part 2, your comeback, races?
But yeah, yes. I think the 1973 was was quite significant because I was in the 4 by 400, and uh, we were in the stadium on the final day, and we did not know who was going to be the first runner, second runner, third runner, fourth runner. And at the very last minute, the coach, Mr. Hari, says, "Okay," he points to me and says, "You are the last runner." And I was so, you know, I was so nervous, thinking, ah, yeah, actually, I thought I might be the first runner or second runner, and I would not be in the limelight. But to be the last runner was a stress. But you just have to accept it. And so the race started, and our runners went on to. There were only 4 teams on that race that day. Uh, there was Thailand, there was Myanmar, there was Malaysia, and uh, and there was Singapore. And and uh, I remember this very clearly. Um, our third runner was coming in to give the baton to me, and we were lying second. Uh, the Malaysians were first. They were leading, and the Malaysian last runner got the baton, and he earlier on he had won the 400-meter individual gold medal, and zoom, he was off, and then my runner and the um, and the Thai runner, they came in quite close to each other and gave the baton, and I remember I was quite worried about the Thai runner. At the same time, I was also thinking about the Malaysian runner who was way ahead. But as I was going around a bend, there was the Malaysian third runner, and he was standing in lane one. The rule says that after you pass the baton, you should leave the track. But I think he must have forgotten, or he was so tired. He was standing in lane one with his hands on his hips, and he was panting away. And I was coming around the bend, and boom, he was there on the track. And I remember very clearly, I had to slow down and step aside and step into lane two and then go on. And that gave the Malaysian last runner even a bigger lead because I had to jam my brakes and go around the runner. But I kept going, and I remember also very clearly telling myself, be careful, uh, because the Thai runner was very close behind. And and so I told myself, be careful, be careful. And going around the bend and then going to the back straight, I could see the Malaysian, he was too far ahead. And then going around the bend, coming into the home straight, and the Malaysian was still ahead, and I could still hear uh, the Thai runner close behind. And no, I think it was the yes, yes, huh? And then going around and coming into the straight. When we came into the straight, I noticed that, hey, the Malaysian runner was not that far ahead. I wondered what had happened. Uh, and then I saw myself getting closer and closer and closer to him. And he must have run too fast. And he must be getting very tired at the end. And so I remember uh, chasing and getting closer and closer and closer. And I remember there is a photograph of this finish, and it shows me with my hands up like this. Uh, and I was only one stride behind him. Can you imagine? After such a big
Mm.
lead, I was one stride behind him, and uh, and and the race was over. But I also remember this. Um, uh, our coach had said that we will protest because the Malaysian had was standing in lane one when he was expected to leave the track, and so he had blocked my path, and so we could protest. But I also remember Mr. Yap Boon Chuan, who was also the uh, head of the disciplinary committee. He had told me that I think we didn't need to protest. And so although my coach said that I should go and protest, I said that I think we should not protest. And so we did not protest, and the Malaysians got the gold medal, and we got the silver medal.
Mm.
And many years later, I met these Malaysian runners at a conference in Malaysia, and uh, and and the and the Malaysian uh, said that, hey, uh, you all wanted to protest or something like that, and uh, no, let me recall what happened. Oh, and he said this. He said, you know what happened when we were leaving the stadium? He said Singaporeans were outside there throwing fruits at our bus. And yeah, of course, I said, well, that was then. Now we are friends still. And so I remember this occasion very clearly.
Yeah, that was a really memorable race. Yeah.
Yes, it was a good race. And although we came in second, it was a good second. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you, how do you stay motivated, you know, to excel? How do you pick yourself up when, let's say, you finish second, you came so close, but you got beaten, right, by less than a second? How do you motivate yourself all those years?
I think uh, two people were responsible for this. One is my coach, Tan Eng Yun. He had done so much for us. He had sacrificed so much for us. And I never wanted to let him down. Uh, and then the other one was my wife. She was always uh, supportive of me. She had sacrificed so much. And so, uh, when we got married, a few months later, she got pregnant. And so she had to give up her running. And all the years after that, she was really supportive of me, cooking the right foods, giving me enough rest, and everything else. And she was looking after the kids, and it was such a wonderful uh, support from her and from my coach. And of course, later on when I made a comeback, my coach was Harichandra, and then after Harichandra left the scene, it was Patrick Zender who was the coach earlier on, and then sorry,
It's
uh,
okay.
yeah, um, after Harichandra left the scene, Patrick Zender was our coach,
Yeah. Could
and
tell us your wife's name.
my wife, uh, Chong Yoong Yin. Uh, she was a second best sprinter in Singapore. At that time, Glory was the champion, and uh, and she was in the um, SEAP Games. She was in the SEAP Games in 1965 in KL.
Mm.
But I remember she had shin splints, and I also had shin splints in 1965. And we had gone for all kinds of treatments, and it didn't help. And I remember her, uh, she could not even run the relay for Singapore, although she was the best sprinter. And so she had to forego her relay position. But that was how 1965 ended. Yeah, that was Chong Yun Jin.
Yeah, she's the woman behind the man, all right?
Behind and beside.
Yeah. We have an interesting story of of how you all got together and how you all got married, right? But I think we'll leave that for the next episode.
Yes.
uh, uh, do you remember when you set the national record for the 100 meters?
Ah.
1968, right?
Yes. Okay. Right. Yes. In 1968, I was at the Olympic Games in Mexico, and um, I was there without a coach. I was the only athlete. There was a shooter and two weightlifters, and I had to manage everything on my own because the team manager, he had to look after the two weightlifters because they were both Mandarin speaking, and so he had to be close to them and make sure that they had all the support. But me being quite a senior athlete by then, uh, I looked after myself, going for training, going for the competition, etc. And so I remember uh, in the heats, I gone to the warm up track, warmed up, and then went in. And in the first round, um, I came. In the first round, I came in. Um, I came in third,
Mm.
but the, the 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 selection for the next round was like this: the first two of each heats would go in, and then the fastest three losers. The fastest three losers would also go in and join the uh, first two in each heat. And so uh, uh, I remember waiting to see whether I qualified for the uh, quarterfinals. And, and and I remember uh, waiting in the stadium. Everybody had gone home, and I'm still waiting to see the results of the 100 to see whether I'm going through or not. And then finally the results came, and then on to the next round. And I quickly rushed home, quickly have a shower, had a lunch, and then had a short rest, and then back to the track in the afternoon for the next round. And I remember going through the heats, and then um, getting a massage from the USA team masseur, because at that time the coach, the coach of the national team was uh, a coach who knew our coach, and he had been in Singapore before, and he knew I knew him also, and so uh, I could I could get the massage from the American warming up area. So after that, we went into the stadium for the was it a quarterfinals? Yeah, and in the quarterfinals, uh, I came in um, fourth,
Fourth.
and I was out of it. You had to be in the first first two in the quarterfinal. Yeah,
Mm.
of first three. Yeah, and so that was the end of my Olympics year.
When did you set the record? Which race was it?
Yeah, in the quarterfinal.
Quarterfinals. How did you feel?
At that time,
Whose record
that
was that
time,
at the time? Do you know?
I'm sure it was my record,
Your own
which
record.
I'm sure, yeah, which I said earlier,
Right, right.
you know, yeah.
So how
Oh,
did you feel
yeah,
that
I think we have to do some research on that one to see who was holding the record before I did the 10.38,
Yeah.
10.38 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. 10.38. So if you had bettered your own best, right? Well, how did you feel at the time?
Uh, I think I didn't see the significance of it at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just felt that okay, I had done it, and and I think I was just happy that I had gone through two rounds.
Mm.
Yeah,
How
but
did
I
you
was sorry.
how did you feel, 33 years later when UK Shyam broke it?
Actually, I UK Sham, uh, he was training with me.
Mm.
Uh, he would come down and join the national squad that I was coaching at that time. And I remember him. Uh, I stopped coaching the national team in what year was it? Uh,
When he broke the record, 2001.
he broke the record in 2001. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think I stopped coaching the national squad in 1980. What year was it? I can't remember now.
Mm.
But I remember this. Uh, I stopped coaching, and then I was focusing on my lecturing duties and so on. But I remember UK Sham would come to the track at Bukit Timah, and he would come up to my office. This is, I think, after he was still serving national service.
Mm.
So he would come after national service. Uh, he would come to my office, and he would sit in my office. He would put his bag down, and then he would uh, go for his uh, training. He would do the weights at our office at that time. He would do his weight training. But I remember him sitting in my office, and then on a couple of occasions, he would tell me, Mr. K, I'm going to break your record. So he would be sitting there waiting to go for his weight training, and he will tell me he will break my record. And then, of course, I remember also we our office moved to NTU, and then I lost
Mm.
touch with him, and then he began to train with Ang Ping Siong for about a year. And but that year, he broke the national record when he was at the Asian track and field.
Mm.
and then a few months later he broke it again. But I remember this. Yes, finally, the boy who sat in my office telling in my face that he was going to break my record finally did it.
Were you
Mm.
impressed by him?
Yes, yes. Because I remember him, he trained very hard.
Mm.
I remember the occasion when he used to train at my gym. Early in the morning, I would go up to the gym to do my gym training before the classes. But and to look at the uh, leg extension and hamstring curl machine, and uh, I would see the pin where he would be probably the last to leave, and I could see, wow, the number of uh, slaps that he would have been training for his hamstring and leg extension and squats. But impressive. He
Very
was
impressive.
really, really strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
So his strength was there, and then his running training was also there. And it was not a surprise that he could break the national record.
Mm, mm. I want to ask you, you've been an athlete yourself and then subsequently you were a coach. Of course, you were also a long time PE teacher. What advice would you have, for today's runners? What kind of things that do you think they can learn from someone like yourself?
Uh, Actually, there are so many new things out there which even I did not learn at that time. But there is this sports science,
Mm.
there is the biomechanics of it, and then more importantly is the physiology of it. So you have to really understand the exercise physiology behind any of the races, whether it's the 100, the 200, the 400, 800, and then the distance events and so on. The physiology part, what takes place within our muscles, and very very important, especially for the sprints. I would I would think the you everybody must know the enzymes involved. The enzymes involved in producing ATP, adenosine triphosphate. ATP is where the energy is stored and the energy is released to make your muscles use the energy to be able to keep going at that pace. So that is the crucial part that all coaches and athletes must learn. How is ATP produced for your particular event?
So can I ask you, what do you think contributed to your success? At the time there wasn't much of sports
Mm,
science.
mm.
Was it your physical or was it your mental or your support behind you?
I think the most important is the physical. I think I had the natural uh, ability, and this means I had a high percentage of fast twitch muscles. So everybody must learn about fast twitch and normal muscles. Fast twitch muscles mean that the muscles can contract, can look at this demonstration. We have actin and myosin inside every muscle fiber. These actin and myosin go like this, and this is how the muscle shortens and lengthens, shortens and lengthens. But for this muscle to shorten faster than anybody else's muscle, you must have these uh, uh, nerves, which are fast nerves. The, the, the nerves come from the brain to the muscle fiber. And this message comes much faster if you have fast nerves. And some people, you are born with more fast nerves. And then you must train so that these muscles can keep going at a fast pace. But the first part of the sprinter is you must have fast nerves. But I like to mention that when 8 people line up at the 100-meter finals in the Asian Games, all have fast nerves.
Yeah.
So the 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 thing is, you have used your fast nerves to get out of the blocks and be in front. But to stay in front, you must have the energy system to make ATP fast so that the nerve, the muscle can keep sliding like this when the messages come fast. But you must have um, the the fast energy system so that you do not build up lactic acid, and the one who can hold the production of lactic acid, who can delay the production of lactic acid a little bit longer than the other, he or she will be the winner. And that is what happened to me in the 1970 Asian Games. I had gone too fast and I had not trained enough to have the capacity to delay the formation of lactic acid, whereas the other two sprinters had that capacity. And so when my muscles became hard, lactic acid was building up, and that was the end of me. No matter what I could do, that's it. That's the end of you. So we must understand how to delay the formation of lactic acid, the accumulation of lactic acid within our muscle fiber.
Right.
So you are born with natural talent, you are born with fast muscles, fast moving muscle nerves that bring the message there fast, and the muscles can move fast. But if lactic acid forms there, then the nerves will get saturated and they can't bring the message to the muscle anymore. And the muscle itself also will get saturated with lactic acid, and that's the end of you.
Right. So the natural gift is very important, but also the training
Yes,
is important as well.
very important.
Mm.
Because as I said, all the 8 people in the finals will have the
Yeah, ability.
natural ability. But we are faster than all the others.
Yeah.
But among ourselves, we have to have the right kind of training. And 1970, I didn't have the right kind of training
Mm. Mm.
because I had the spur and I could not train as hard as I wanted to. Yes, I was the best in Singapore, but when it came to Asia, I was only the third best.
Yeah. I mean, so nowadays, right? I mean, we are all aware of this sports science, and Singapore has the knowledge as well as the school system as well. Are you hopeful that that Singapore can produce a sprinter? Right. I mean, we of course have Shanti Pereira, who's done magnificently.
Yeah.
But for the men, do you think that Singapore can produce a sprinter like yourself? Who can go
Yes,
the extra mile?
yes. You see, Shyam was the next one, and
Mm,
then right now there's another one,
mm,
and so he is uh, he already broke Shyam's record,
mm.
and so we have. But I just wish that we had more. So there's still something missing in the whole setup. I'm not sure whether it is the coaching or whether it is the general system where our athletes are not staying long enough. Right today, right? We the school's national meet is going on in Choa Chu Kang
Mm.
Stadium, and there are many good results reported in the press and so on. And so now, we have them. They must be very talented. They- the schools are producing them, but I think they are not staying long enough to go to the next stage of Asian Games, like Shyam and the new boy who has broken the record.
Yeah, you mean that they stop the the training and the running, and they get a job or they go to national service.
Yeah, I
Mm.
think job, national service is one, are two critical thing matters. But I'm sure, uh, yeah, the main thing is the parents. I think
Mm.
the parents must realize, and so those boys and girls who are doing well, it is the parents who are very supportive of them. The coaches are willing, but the parents must be the parents must believe that yes, we should go to the next level. And even if it is national service, even after national service, you can still do it. Like UK Sham, you know, he did it after national service. So there must be others. But then again, the parents must believe that yes, my son and daughter has this natural ability. They are born with this. If you're talking about sprinters, they are born with fast twitch nerves. So maybe the parents have not heard about this, and maybe the parents do not realize that wow, I have a son and daughter who is born with this, or born with the natural ability for distance running, for sprinting. It's two extremes.
Yeah,
You are born with certain things.
yeah. Not everyone can do this, right? Only a few
Yeah,
select people can do these
yeah,
races.
yeah. And so we must have them in Singapore. We do have them, and maybe we are not telling our our general population, hey, there is such a thing as natural ability, and but this natural ability gets you in the to be the top in a local scene, but with this natural ability, with with the right kind of training, you can go even to higher levels. And I think uh, I should I should have I should have been the one
Yeah,
mentioned this, but I think I did not do my part in educating coaches and parents. Uh, Maybe I didn't have the opportunity, right? Because when I continued uh, even though I joined the sports council, I was not in the high performance until my last 2 years.
mm.
Then I joined the high performance team, and by then I had uh, uh, I think I had reached my age of retirement. I was already my 80, and I thought, okay, yeah, it's time to stop this. But as I said, if all the sports science people and the coaches would sit down and say, okay, so how can we produce uh, 10.2, 10.1,
Mm.
10-second sprinters? What is missing? And what is missing in our endurance runners? And then they can put this to the whole country so that everybody realizes that hey, we can do this and we need to do this.
Yeah, hopefully some parents can take the message from our interview today, right?
Yes,
and
I
and
hope
and
so too.
yeah, let's hope
And
that
they and welcome to see me and talk to you.
yeah.
Yes, I'm so glad that you gave me this opportunity.
No, no,
Right.
really, it's been wonderful listening to you today. Your memories, and you still have so much passion. In your voice, in your memories. That's just amazing. Mr.
Yes,
K, so I think we will stop for today, and let's continue maybe sometime next week. To talk
sure,
about your teaching days.
sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Thank you.
I
Thank you
think
very much.
fewer people know about your teaching days than your running days, right?
Yep.
But
Yes.
I think a lot of your students remember you very, very fondly. Have a lot of respect for you, right?
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Some of them we are still in touch.
Yes, yes,
There are many groups. Yeah, it will be great. Yeah. Yeah. So teaching has given me my whole life.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Thank you.
I'll arrange with you again. Uh,
Yep.
Thank you so much for today, for
Yes.
being a guest on Chronicles of Old Singapore. And next time,
Yes.
the
Next
phone
time,
will work better.
I hope so. Yes. And I
Yes,
will
yes.
show this.
Tell us what's that.
This is my T-shirt from Dunham Secondary Technical School,
Yeah, and on your
and
other
we'll talk
side as
about this.
well. Your other side, the
On the
other
other
side.
side,
Yeah.
oh, this is the school crest.
Uh,
This is my school
from
crest.
each his best. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dunham Secondary Technical School.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it the next time.
Next time. All right. So
Okay.
all the best. Till then.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon
Bye.
again. Bye bye.
Bye bye.